5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
At the heart of our Catholic faith, at the heart of our Christian faith, lies one simple reality: love. At the heart of Christianity is love. The truth that God is love, and he became man out of love for us. But we use that word all the time, love. But what does it really mean, especially in the context of the Christian faith? That's what we're going to be talking about today on Ignition. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Bergwald, and we want to set your faith ablaze so that you might live the adventure that comes from a relationship with Jesus Christ. Before we get into today's topic, we want you to know that, as always, we love listener feedback. So if you've got questions about this episode, or if you have ideas for future episodes, please contact us. The easiest way to do so is by email. And the address is ignition@sfcatholic.org. Again, ignition@sfcatholic.org. I'm joined in studio by my regular co-host, Renae Kranz. Hello, Renae.
I'm back.
You are back again. And this time, I didn't ask you for the email address because this time,
I looked like I was paying attention.
You looked like you were paying attention. I don't know if you actually
tried to sit up straight and listen.
I appreciate that.
And okay, good.
Yeah. So I was really tempted, by the way. This is how I wanted to start this episode. Yep, this is how I wanted to start the episode.
Leans back and spinning in. Oh, wow.
Whoa, wow.
Jeez. Is that from The Princess Bride?
Correct. Elise, we talked about this before. Have you seen Princess Bride?
Like parts of it.
I haven't even seen the whole thing. I've seen parts.
Actually, there's a marriage.
Marriage.
Marriage is what brings the hill together today. And then, yeah, love, and blah, 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 blah. But I could have also used for this topic another line from the line that I quote the most from this movie. It's the most theological line. It's the most philosophical line in The Princess Bride. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Because it says, inconceivable. He didn't fall, or inconceivable. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. What do words mean is at the heart of many, just frankly, in a lot of ways, needless arguments and disagreement. If we get clarity about the meaning of words, that would clear up so much misunderstanding. And love is one of those words where it's not, love can mean many different things that we can get confused when we. I love my wife and I love pepperoni pizza. Those two, I do not mean those two words in the same way.
Right. I think definitions of words change over time too.
Right.
Which is sometimes not helpful.
Correct. So the meaning of words. So what we're going to be talking about today is the reality that God is love. And our starting point is a document by that name, God is Love, that came out. So as folks are hearing this, Renae, we're leading right up to Christmas. By the way, this year, then this happens every few years, shortest fourth week of Advent ever.
Yeah, it's like 2 days or something?
No.
A day?
Not even. Well,
as soon as Mass is over.
Technically it is a day because the fourth Sunday of Advent begins sundown on Saturday before.
And ends sundown on Sunday.
On Sunday because Christmas Eve trumps the fourth Sunday. So 1 day long. So 18 years ago, so Christmas Day, 18 years ago, Benedict XVI signed Deus Caritas Est, which was his first encyclical letter. Deus Caritas Est, Latin for God is love. Literally, God, love is, but Latin, you can mess with word order. And this remains one of my favorite papal documents of all time.
Is it is it long?
No, it's so in the little format that I have here. It is 58 and a half pages long in this little booklet format.
And I don't remember. Is Benedict hard to read?
No, Benedict is. I don't. Hold on.
Like, is it understandable?
Yes.
For the average
So
Catholic?
I will compare. Okay. I love JP2. I call JP2 the great.
Right.
Benedict is clearer.
Easier to read.
Easier to read.
And
go ahead.
Probably definitely better easier to read than Pope Francis, only because I think Benedict was better at clarity.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would generally agree with
Yeah.
that. Although Pope Francis's written documents,
It depends on what he's writing.
it does.
feel
And
like.
some of them, like my favorite, when you and I talked about, we looked at the opening paragraphs of The Joy of the Gospel.
Oh, yeah.
A few episodes, several weeks ago now, I guess. That's a longer document, and he does, like, some of it's very understandable. I think was that one of the places where he talked about, he used some of his colorful metaphors, like, the shepherd needs to smell like the sheep, and the
Right,
church is
right,
a field
yep.
hospital. Not all those came from that document, but he used that. But then he also talks about, there's a famous, he's got like a noun with 4 adjectives, something Promethean, Neopelagian, Promethean somethingism. I'm like, whoa, Your Holiness, like. We theologians are with you, but you just lost 99% of Catholics. Although that's okay. I mean, ask us to sort of break out the dictionary from time to time.
Sure, as long as you don't have to do it through like 10 words in every paragraph.
Right,
Then we
right.
might have a problem.
Yeah. So Benedict, the story with Benedict on the clarity of his teaching is, for a long time, so Benedict was the youngest of 3 kids. He's the baby of the family. Can't you tell?
Of course. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, right,
in this
Elise.
case.
Yeah, we're talking about you. In Benedict, I have no idea how that manifested itself. But his sister was the oldest girl, and then 2 boys. His brother, who was a priest, George, and then Joseph. I don't remember his sister's name right now. But at a certain point, I don't know if it was when he came to Rome, maybe even when he was still in Germany. His sister none of the 3 married. Obviously, 2 became priests, but his sister never married. And she, at a certain point, I don't know when in Benedict's life, at a certain point, she basically became his housekeeper.
Oh, okay.
And cook and sort of that sort of thing. And the story is, this must have been way back when he's still in Germany, I think, that he would, over breakfast, sort of give her a preview of his theological lectures for the day. Uh-huh. And if she couldn't follow, he would rework it. And even this is high-level theology. So he was not, we're really clear here, because this is an important distinction. Bishop Barron talks all the time, this is a riff, it's okay, it's a podcast.
Yeah,
you can do that. Yeah. Bishop Barron talks a lot about how we can sometimes dumb down our faith, dumb down Catholicism. Pope Benedict would not, and Bishop Barron would completely agree with this, Pope Benedict didn't dumb down his college level, graduate level theology courses to like a 4th grade level.
Right.
But he'd be clear
Yeah.
in his teaching.
Yep.
So to be clear is not the same as dumbing it down.
Right. Agreed.
But that's the story that he would sort of preview his lectures with his sister, and that supposedly helped him improve. It helped him with the clarity of his teaching.
And I suspect his sister was no dummy.
Right. Yeah. 2 priests. Her little brothers are both priests.
Right.
One
probably came from a family of fairly high intelligence and so on, from the looks of things.
Yep. So, so to your question, is this document I'd say is definitely readable.
Good.
And I would consider it one of the modern classics. I think it's only 18 years old, but it's stood up over the test of that time, and it's still very relevant. So what I want to do is just unpack, just frankly, I don't know if we'll get beyond the first article. It's a longer article. It's three paragraphs. But, well, we'll see as we go through it. This is a really rich introduction to this idea, and really this was Benedict's first encyclical, and in many ways, your first written document lays out the program for your pontificate.
Okay. So you better choose wisely, right?
It does, yeah. But then for us as Catholics, we can look to these documents as sort of to get a sense of the course that this new pope is charting. So I don't remember if it was actually his literal first document or not, but first or second document of the pontificate of Pope Francis is The Joy of the Gospel.
Okay.
So The Joy of the Gospel, to me, is still the document that charts the course of his pontificate.
Right.
The first document for John Paul II was Redemptor Hominis, the Redeemer of man. Jesus is the Redeemer of man. That definitely laid out sort of a sketch of where he was going in his pontificate, of the themes that were important to him.
Right.
So Deus Caritas Est serves as, if you want to get a sense of where Pope Benedict was going as Pope, read this document. Okay? So we're going to start with the first article, the first paragraph of Article 1. Renae, would you mind reading this paragraph?
God is love, and he...
There's no This came up last week, too. Magnition.
Do you want me to read or not? It's being very mean to me.
People have told you, have commented how mean I am.
Yes, and I think they're right.
Okay.
God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. These words from the first letter of John express with remarkable clarity the heart of the Christian faith, the Christian image of God and the resulting image of mankind and its destiny. In the same verse, St. John also offers a kind of summary of the Christian life. We have come to know and to believe in the love God has for us.
Okay, so we get here two portions of 1 John 4:16. The opening line, God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. And then the closing line from this opening paragraph, we have come to know and to believe in the love God has for us. So what Benedict is saying there, his words in the middle, is that the opening portion, God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. Again, this expresses the heart of the Christian faith. First, the Christian image of God, and therefore the resulting image of mankind and its destiny. And the latter portion of the verse, we have come to know and believe in the love God has for us, offers a kind of summary of the Christian life. So just want to, because you could just, I don't think I've done this with you. I've done this with a lot of people recently. People may have heard this with a couple weeks ago with Robin. We are now, Renae Kranz, in a really important time in the television viewing year.
Okay.
We're between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right.
And actually, well, we're post Halloween, post Thanksgiving, pre Christmas. This is the time of the Charlie Brown TV specials.
Oh, I did not know where you were going with this.
The Charlie Brown TV specials, and the. Tell me, Renae Kranz, what are the words spoken by Charlie Brown's teacher in all three Charlie Brown
talked about
specials?
this.
See, I told you.
Wah, 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 wah.
Wah, 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 wah. And why is that relevant here?
Because we've heard this stuff before, and we can just be like, yeah.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't wah, 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 as we're talking about this. So, this opening paragraph, God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. Even the way I said that, you attempted to wah, 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 wah. The Christian image of God, the resulting image of mankind and its destiny. What the heck does that mean, Renae Kranz?
Well, because God is love, we are also supposed to be love. That's what we're supposed to become and be.
Wait. Okay, hold on, though. Love is something I do. I love people. You're using it as a noun. I'm so confused. Help me to understand.
Well, so this is the Renae Kranz definition. Yikes. Love means sacrifice and willing the good of the other. So if you're willing the good of the other, that's going to be probably a sacrifice on your part and probably a sacrifice on their part.
Okay.
So to me, love is sacrifice.
Okay. But you still do a sacrifice. It's still an action.
No, you can be a sacrifice too. Jesus was a sacrifice.
Okay, so help me understand that. It's really good. Good job. Good job. Good.
I'm really
good job.
scared right now.
But so are you saying that God is love became true when Jesus died on the cross?
No.
Oh.
No.
Was it always true that God is
It was
love?
always true.
Even
That's why he
before-
created us.
Even before.
It was his because he loved so much, he created everything that is.
So before he created us, though, he wasn't love.
Yeah, he was. He can't
What does it
be
mean to-
something.
what
God
is-
can't be something. He can't
That's-
not be something before and now be something different.
That's very true. But what does it mean to say that he? So I'm going to answer. Well, you may have an answer to the question.
Okay.
A different answer. What does it mean to say that he is love, though?
He's the essence of, well, I don't know.
Right.
See? Why do you make me do this?
No, because I want the listeners to feel your pain.
Oh, they feel my pain.
Because we say these things, we hear these things, and wah, 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 wah. But that doesn't mean to say that God is love.
Yeah.
I get what it means that God loves. But what does it mean to say that God is love?
Well, and we think we know what it means, but then when you start doing that, then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I really don't. I'm just going to have to say it.
So the Christian image of God. So what do we know about God? What did Jesus reveal about God? That in the one God, there are three persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Right.
And I know you know this. So the Father loves the Son completely. So the Father pours himself out so much that the Son is begotten.
Right.
And the Son receives that love from the Father and returns that. And in that back and forth, a third person is generated, the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Now this doesn't happen. It's not like the Father existed and then the Son and the Spirit. It's all eternal, and they're all co-equal.
Right.
They're all equal, all three.
It's how love works. Can I say it that way?
Right. So God is an eternal communion of persons.
Right.
So why is God's essence love? Because in the one God, in his one nature, there are three persons, three distinct persons who pour so there's that eternal, so pouring out, receiving, and exchange, which generates love. Forget about us and the rest of creation.
Right.
That is God from all eternity in who he is. So that's why in his essence, he is. That's why John writes these words. And so the Pope Benedict then says that these words express with remarkable clarity the Christian image of God and the resultant image of mankind and its destiny. So we are created in the image and likeness of God. So God is a communion of persons, each person having an intellect and will, well, a person having intellect and free will. So we are intended to be in relationship with one another on earth, well, with other humans, but also with God.
God.
Our destiny is to be in eternal communion with God and one another.
So is that almost like a mankind trinity?
Yeah, right. Well,
Like
I think
there's
this is why. So the human, the stereotypical example here is, and obviously this doesn't happen all the time, but of a human family, man, woman coming together and generating new life.
Right.
Again, that doesn't always happen, but that's where the family mirrors. That's where we in our relationships mirror the reality of who God is.
Right.
So God is love. So that conveys the image of God, Christian image of God, and the resultant image of mankind and its destiny. So I just want to go on, though. It's not just God that's love. He who abides in love abides in God, and God in him. So when we truly love others, God abides in us, and we abide in him. Now, what does that mean? I think going back to your word, sacrifice, desiring the good of the other, and so on. It's not, in this sense, it's not about affectivity, about emotions or feelings.
Right.
It's about more than that. It's about involving the whole person.
Right.
Completely desiring the good of the other with my whole being, not just how I feel, but also not just my will. It's all of me.
Right.
Mind, intellect, affect, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
Okay? So, and then we're told that 1 John 4:16 also gives us a summary of the Christian life. We have come to know and to believe in the love God has for us. So the Christian life, in sum, is expressed in this passage from St. John's first letter. We, as Christians, have come to know and to believe in the love God has for us. So as I'm reading this last time, I'm like, well, what do you think? Why does John make this distinction between to know and to believe?
They are very different things. There was just a story that was told this morning from one of the Chancery people about a friend of hers who didn't really understand that God loved him.
Yep.
So I think sometimes we might know it intellectually, but not really believe it
Yeah.
because we're sinful and we screw up all the time. And how could God possibly love us with
Yeah.
that going on?
So to believe means to have faith, and have faith can mean sort of knowing something's true, but it can also have faith in me, trust me. So it conveys. So believe in this context can convey like a deep trust in the other person.
Right.
So we have come to know and to trust in the love God has for us.
Right.
First paragraph, Renae.
The next, okay.
So we're not going to get all the way through the first article, but that's fine. I want to focus on well, go ahead. I'm going to stop you at a certain point here. But
For the next one?
Yep.
Okay. We have come to believe in God's love. In these words, the Christian can express the fundamental decision of his life. Being Christian is not the result of an ethical choice or a lofty idea, but the encounter with an event, a person, which gives life a new horizon and a decisive direction.
right there. Can you reread those two sentences, please?
We have come to believe in God's love. In these words, the Christian can express the fundamental decision of his life. Being Christian is not the result of an ethical choice or a lofty idea, but the encounter with an event, a person, which gives life a new horizon and a decisive direction.
So that second sentence there I've got underlined, and this is one of my favorite passages in all church.
Everything.
Right, yeah. In all church, outside of the Bible, this is definitely one of my favorite lines. This is a man who, obviously an intellectual, who was unfairly, back in the 80s, sort of labeled as the Panzer Cardinal.
Okay.
So like this is like German in the worst sense. But Pope Benedict was a Bavarian. Bavarians are very warm, and this idea of the Stoic German, that's other parts of Germany.
Oh, okay.
Bavarians are not that sort of. But he was like, because he was so, the truth of the faith was so important to him, that people thought he was sort of, labeled as, overly dogmatic and rigid, and yet the truth of his thought is expressed in that line right here. This is why I love this line. I'm going to read it once more myself. Being Christian is not the result of an ethical choice or a lofty idea, but the encounter with an event, a person, which gives life a new horizon and a decisive direction. So it's really possible, or it's easy for us rather, to reduce Christianity in misguided ways. Well-intentioned, even misguided. So being Christian is not the result of an ethical choice. So Christianity is not, in its essence, about morality.
Right.
It includes morality, but the heart of Christianity is not morality.
Right.
Morality flows from the heart, the way that blood flows from my heart, but it's not the heart of
Right.
the thing. Being Christian is also not the result of a lofty idea.
Right.
And this is, to me, like, this brilliant intellectual said time and time and time again, things like this. Christianity is not a philosophy. There is in its essence, there is a philosophy that flows from it.
Sure.
There are ideas, certainly, teachings, whatever. There are ideas that flow from the essence, but the essence of Christianity is not it's not an ideology.
Right.
The essence of Christianity is not a lofty idea. Being Christian is the result of the encounter with an event, a person, which gives life a new horizon and decisive direction. So being Christian is about an encounter with a person, Jesus Christ, through whom we encounter the Father, and by whom we encounter, and the Holy Spirit as well. So it's about a relationship with Jesus Christ in its essence. So now, what do you think? What's he doesn't say being Christian is the result of an encounter with a person. He has another word in front of it. So what does that mean? Do you think?
Well, I think an event, he means the moments that we are most maybe attuned to God, or a conversion, perhaps.
Yep. So being Christian is the result of the encounter with an event. How do you encounter an event?
Go to it.
But he says an event, comma, a person.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the interesting thing. He's sort of equating
Right. A
the
person
event
and
with
an
a
event.
person.
Yeah.
So if you were to say with the word event, how would you say, what's an event? What's a synonym for event?
Happening.
And that's my top. That's synonym. The source. That's the first word. Every time I ask this, people say that it's a happening. An event is a happening. Jesus is a happening.
Okay.
So he's a person. But what I love about this is it gives a sense of dynamism of Jesus. The fact that Jesus is on the move, like Aslan, the lion in Narnia. Like Jesus is not sitting in heaven right now, twiddling his thumbs, looking down at you and I and Elise as we record this episode. Jesus is on the move. He's doing things. He's a happening. He's active. He is an event. And to be a Christian is the result of my encounter with him. It's the result of my encounter with him. So I can't overstate the importance of this. I think for a lot of Catholics, what is being Christian about? You get
Following all the rules.
morality.
Yeah.
Right. Doing certain things.
Right.
Or believing certain things. The lofty ideas.
Right.
Well, it does include doing certain things and believing certain things. But it is above all the encounter with an event who is a person that is Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So people are hearing this probably right before Christmas. As we go into this brief fourth week of Advent and then celebrate Christmas, remember that what this is all about is about me meeting Jesus Christ, encountering him, and deepening that encounter and an ever deepening relationship with him. I can't overstate this.
We don't change our lives for rules.
We don't change our life for rules. We don't change we might think we can change our ideas, our lives for ideas, but that peters out. But when we meet someone who gives my life a new horizon and a decisive direction, that's what makes the difference.
Yes, totally.
All right. Thanks,
that was
Renae.
awesome. Yeah.
Thanks. And folks, that will wrap up this episode. Again, you can email us, ignition@sfcatholic.org, with any questions about today's episode or ideas for future ones. Until next time, may God bless you.